Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I've got a special guest for us today, Mukesh Bajaj, coming out of Australia. And he's an entrepreneur, seven figure, and he's going to talk to us about the steps toward creating freedom, fulfillment, and a passionate life. I'm really happy to have him on the show. And Mukesh, welcome.
Thank you, Chris. I'm excited and grateful to be here. Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself and we'll dive right into the questions.
Yeah. My name is Mukesh, and I help individuals and small business owners create financial freedom and a fulfilled life for themselves and for their loved ones. And if I take you back into my journey, how it all started, I was born in a very small town in India, and my dad was a franchisee of a very successful logistics company, so the money was good. But one day, this franchisor sibling had a conflict within the family, and they decided to shut down the business. And that meant my family, my dad was without business, without income that day. But he looked for very similar sized business, but he couldn't find any. And then one of my uncles suggested that why shouldn't they start their own logistics company? And that's what they did. However, they didn't realize that this new business had more overheads than the previous one. So this new business had needed more like a different mindset, different skill set, and the capital which my dad didn't have. So every day was a struggle for my dad. He had to borrow funds from his family and friends to keep the business going. And that pushed my mom into a mindset of scarcity and anxiety, which was a reflection of how she was brought up into an environment with her seven sisters in a home. And I couldn't do much that time. I was also working as a lost young man myself. And one of my friends then encouraged me to come to Australia for study. Needless to say, I didn't have any savings. But then my grandfather, my family, they mortgaged our family home. And I borrowed and took the loan and came to Australia for study. I completed my master's in accounting, CPA. And after completing those CPA, I started my own accounting company. And so I witnessed those three problems that I wanted to correct in the accounting company. Well, that was one, the high failure rate of small and medium businesses. Number two, that small business owners do not have enough, cash flow and the wealth when they retire. Number three, the accountants used to focus more on compliance and reporting rather than focusing on helping clients create a fulfilling and profitable business. And that's what I wanted to do when I created my own company. And I connected with client because I saw the uncertainty and like small business owners feel. And I connected with because I witnessed those uncertainties, scarcity, unfulfillment with my mom and dad. So and then this way I kept growing and got more clients. However, I was still unfulfilled. And even though I had success in business, but I was in conflict within myself between looking after the current clients and growing them in numbers, or should I look at what do I want to do? And one day I stopped for a moment and invited a couple of my team members and in the conference room that we started writing on the whiteboard. And those scribbles from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday for 3 months in a row. And those scribbles then changed to a value system. We found out our core values, happiness, freedom, and then we knew how we should make decisions. We feel better about what we want to do. And that led to, after reading, listening, all happened in stages. So then listening, reading, I came up with this word called serving. And that was the aha moment that got me out of my empty, miserable life. And I kept asking myself what serving mean for me. And I found that my fulfillment lies in fulfilling other people's life, getting other people unstuck and understand what they want to achieve. So this was that my purpose. And I came out that my purpose is I knew that now this is my purpose and my values. But the next challenge was for me, okay, how do I achieve that now? and what's the roadmap. And I needed to find a very simple solution, simple system that will align with me, what I wanted to do. And reading, listening again, podcasts about financials, fulfillment, and so much content that I went through. And then I was able to create a system, a roadmap, a path which where all those learnings could coexist in harmony. And that's what my value system, which I started 7 years back in 2017, changed into now, transformed into the 7-step fulfillment system. That changed me from a headless chicken to a fulfilled human being. And that's what I'm sharing in the book, that 7-step fulfillment system, which is a universal system you can use anytime in any situation, which is on a timeless principles, and which helps you define what you want and help you overcome the roadblocks and then help you achieve what you want with joy. And my purpose now in life is to help 15,100 people create financial freedom and a fulfilled life for themselves and for their loved ones. This is how it all started.
Yeah, that's a really great introduction. And we'll talk about the 7 things you sum up. First thing we talk about is the 7 steps fulfillment system and never feeling lost or stuck again, briefly, and then talk about the aligning 10 elements of your fulfillment vision, a blueprint for your fulfillment. Elaborate on that.
It's a step 2. So the step 1 is simple, that I'll just quickly touch on. Step 1 is celebrate and be grateful. And now you mentioned step 2, which is aligning your fulfillment vision. So what do I mean from that is that when we align our actions and goals. So in this fulfillment vision, let me share you first. There are 10 elements. So activity, behavior, habits, beliefs, goals, values, character, purpose, principles, and environment. So when we align our activities, behavior, habits towards our purpose and goals, then we can create a fulfilling life. For example, if we are, even in this podcast, for example, so this podcast is an activity for me to help share my message, help share this system so that those 15,100 people can create a fulfilled life for themselves and for their loved ones. So therefore, I'm here. This is as an example of how we can align our activities. So that's about the step number 2, just figuring out what you want to do and aligning your activities, create your habits based on what will take you there.
Yeah, and then we'll go on to the next question. Is interesting, you talk about the 30 cells framework and a holistic approach to goal setting. What do you mean by that?
Now in step 2, we have completed, we know now what our bigger purpose is and what do we want to achieve, what our goals are. However, in step 3, we go deep into that, what actually fulfillment means, right? And I break them into 30 cells, which means that first of all, think about your columns as the 5 life circles and 6 rows. First of all, let's talk about the columns when you talk about the Excel sheet, right? So everyone I understand that all of the audience here have seen the spreadsheet. Just imagine that. Or if you are from biology, think about cells in your body. So now life circle, there are 5. Again, you can categorize them into 10, 20, 50, whatever you want, or in any order. But I ordered them in this way, that first circle is myself, second one is family, third is business, career, employment. The fourth one is friends, extended family, community. The fifth one is spiritual and non-spiritual life circle. So these are the 5 life circles, like 5, you can break them in your life. These are the people, community. And then you have 6 rows, which are the core needs. One is your brand, money, time, skill, health, and experience. So these become the 6 needs. So brand, when I say brand, it's not just the logo. It's about your values, your purpose, what you stand for, how do you show up, what do you want to be called, what do you want to be remembered for. For example, in my case, I want to be remembered for the person who who lived so that he could help people create financial freedom and a fulfilled life. And I'm a father and a husband. So that's my personal brand, with family brand. What kind of a spouse I want to be, what kind of a father I want to be, and then what kind of a friend I want to be, what kind of a leader I want to be, what kind of a colleague I want to be, what kind of a CEO I want to be. And so this is the brand section. Then you go money. Again, you can reorder them, you can change them as per your own priority, and you can even, instead of 30, you can have 300. Up to you. It just makes my life easier when I do it 30. I can remember them, I can share them easily. So the second point was money. How much money do I want for myself? And how much money do I want for my family? And how much money do I want to earn and invest in the business? And how much money do I want to for my friends and any spiritual involvement? So when I go and ask myself this question, that how much do I give and how much do I receive from each of those 30 cells, 30, then I know, I come up that this is a fulfilled life. When I achieve this, which I cover in the next steps, but this is, first of all, step 3 is about knowing what do I want. If I achieve that, does it look like I have a fulfilled life? If this much money I will have, if this much time I'm spending, and if this much money I'm sharing with my family, will I have a fulfilled life, right? Third number is time. Third thing is time. So time means, how would I like to spend those 168 hours in next 7 days? So we all have 168 hours, right? Time is beautiful, like it's a magical democracy. Like we cannot use the future. We can only use the present. And when we wake up tomorrow, we will get 24 hours. People can be biased with money. Some will have more, some will have less. But with time, best thing happen in our life that no one can have more than you. Everyone will have 24 hours tomorrow, right? In the next 7 days. As long as we live, we will have 24 hours, right? So now that's time. Skill. What do I want to practice? Right? I'm a CPA. I was interested in looking the life overall. So that makes me fulfilled. When I have a family, I need to learn parenting, how to be a good husband, how to be a good friend when I'm in community, how to be a good leader, how to be a good accountant. So these are the skills that I could choose and go deeper into. And fifth is the health goals. Like, what kind of health do I want? Do I prefer meditation, or do I prefer swimming, or do I prefer going to gym and do those strength exercises? Or do I want a balance of all those? So that's my, like, a health goals. How many hours should I sleep? Right? What time should I wake up? What are the hours when I'm in more energy? Then what are the hours in the day when I'm not in energy? Understanding those and nurturing yourself accordingly. What diet should I have? And number 6 is experience. What kind of experiences should I create? Right? What do I want to have holidays? Do I want to have with my family, or a holiday with the friends, or with the team, all the retreats? So what kind of a life or experiences do I want to create with my family, my parents, for example? So when you understand, when you create, when you go deep in yourself with those simple 30 questions, that's life's questions, and they're very simple, and you don't have to be perfect in noting down on the very first day. You can go and you can take your time, just write the dummy answer now, keep refining, keep checking, and keep listening to yourself, and then you will know what you really want. And if you can do it, an exercise where you could just sit down and do the right one first time, that's also beautiful. But the idea is to understand and start practicing that. So that's a step 3, 30 cells framework.
I really love that. And so moving on, we have around 5 minutes, and talk about, just because you've written a book as well, and you've got a lot of interesting things that I want to ask is just why you'd say 15,100. And then you also talk about next Zen. So I'm really curious to hear what those are.
See, 15,100, like when I chose this number very thoughtfully, see, fulfillment is a basically sustainable happiness. Fulfillment is sustainable freedom. Those are my core values: happiness, freedom, and win-win. It's about sustaining those things. It's not just you have the happiness and you just look it and you have it. It's not that way. It's more like a fulfillment. It's more, if you see it, it's a profit and loss element rather than just a balance sheet. You got to keep working on that. So when I realized that when I was working with my team, even if I don't have this conversation with them frequently, then we feel like, oh, we're going back again, and our mindset changes, our behavior changes, our habits start changing. This is where I had to limit the number of people that I would be in their life that actively work with. So what I came up with this number is, if I could be actively working with 100 fulfillment coaches myself, I'll be training them, listening them, their stories, sharing the strategy, and everything that what I learn every day, I share with them, and then help them coach their own 100 people. So this will be that we have impacted 10,000 lives. And I'm talking lifetime here, right? 10,000 lives. And then also we wanted to include people in our life circle, as I mentioned, our family, spouse, kids, friends, and the community. Also wanted to specially acknowledge the role of parents, that where we forget them in making our own life, and with our kids, we get busy with them. I wanted to acknowledge their role as well, and wanted to bring them in our goals when I say that we want to create financial freedom and a fulfilled life for ourselves and for our loved ones. So having parents in that life cycle as well. So this way, holistically, if we are able to create 15,100 people lives, and that's my obligation. Similarly, then everyone can choose their own number, and I will start a ripple, and which then people will take it to their own life. So this way, we will be able to impact more lives. But I'm personally taking an obligation to look after 15,100 people. Now, answer to your second question, that what next gen is. So next gen means that having a fulfilled life and financial freedom both. So what financial freedom is, even we may not have time now, I won't go in more deep, but financial freedom is about what, be what you stand for. Have people in your life circle whose values and purposes are aligned. Money opens the door. Financial freedom, you can create goals without feeling any financial limitations. And that's what financial freedom brings to you. With financial freedom, you can not only look after your fulfillment, but other people's fulfillment as well. And you can learn the skills from the coaches whose values are aligned, who have the skill and all those 6 elements we talked about. And you can create experiences with financial freedom, which otherwise you miss out. Otherwise, you may be just working all your life and miss out those moments that you can create. But yeah, this is what financial freedom, that we help our clients through Next Gen create not just a fulfilled life, but also financial freedom. So both of the things we aim for.
How can people find out more about you and reach out to you? I know you have a book as well, and talk about how they can reach you.
Yeah, so the book is the 7 Steps to Fulfilled Life, and it's beautifully written. It has I would say this could be first read, like a non-fiction read about financial freedom and fulfilled life for anyone, because this is written in plain English, very friendly language, some graphics as well as bigger fonts. It has a lot of stories and timeless principles. So this will never get old, because I've learned from people like Stephen Covey, Gary Chapman. They've shared this timeless principle, even they're relevant in today's life. So I'm sharing a lot of those principles as well, but in my way, how they help me have. Again, I can be headless chicken again if I stop practicing these principles myself. And anyone there who feels like, oh, they're stuck and they feel how to make a good decision, how to live a good life, be present. I was always stuck, lost, mean, jealous, used to compare, had a scarcity mindset. Everything I was that in. Now, by only practicing these 7 steps, I am a good person. I'm not scared. I do not have imposter syndrome anymore. Even I haven't achieved everything in my life, but I'm in the process of doing it, which I'm now sharing through my book, rather than waiting 10 more years to get polished. I'm not doing that. I'm just sharing now while I'm having challenges like you, while I have my 9-year-old son, while I'm still learning the life, and being there, sharing the message that this works, this helps me. I can lead my team without feeling those negativity in the room. It's a win. we all feel happy about showing up on Monday or any day, for example. So yeah, you can find me on my website. There's a ton of resources there. The book is launched. It will be on online in next few days. And so just reach out, and we're here to just share our stories, listen to your stories.
Yeah, I really love that. And thanks so much for coming on and keep up the great work.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me. Huh? It was wonderful.